Oh, hello, hello. Here we are. Okay. Hello, everyone. I have to make sure that I'm seeing that the streaming is happening everywhere. So I end up saying something else as you see me opening it each time. I'm Sudha Jante, and welcome to Sudha Friday, 6 o'clock here in Silicon Valley. It's actually an exciting week because it's a long weekend with our Independence Day, July 4th coming up. And so many of you are still joining me here from US. I appreciate it and hope you are off on a nice vacation break and stay safe. And for all of you joining me here from Europe, because I've set this timing so that I can catch some of you there, I appreciate it that you're joining me your morning on a Saturday. Okay, so what do we got here? So I'm a technology futurist. I've done a bunch of my intros in the past, so just check me out on LinkedIn or just Google me if you're new to this. And thank you for joining me. I will be sharing all the links that I will be putting out here as we talk about opportunities in the AI space. All the links will be on my newsletter. It's bit.ly/jamte newsletter. Let me just show that because that's a starting point. And then I don't need to worry about you getting access to all the links. So let me share that first here. It is bit.ly/jamte newsletter, and it goes out on Sunday morning and morning my time, evening in Europe. And if you just want to join it, you'll get your email, or if you just want to come and look at past recent newsletter, you can see all that I'm sharing here, and you can get the recording of this particular session that's happening here or Sudha Live, and jobs and events and all the different links that I'm sharing here. Okay, so if you're new, that's the place you go to. Okay, so what do we have here? I always like to start with the happy news and congratulations. And I have my students from BTS. Let me find that. Okay, sharing screen again. Okay, so here's a colleague of mine from Barcelona Technology School, Luciano, is sharing the excitement of being there live, the happy hour of the last class with the master's students from Masters in UX Design. UX Design class is one of my favorite class, though I teach AI ethics for 4 different master's program at BTS. With UX Design class, I get to teach them about AIX and AIX design, not just the AI ethics principles and responsible AI. So it's wonderful to see you all. Congratulations. And, it's such a diverse group. I think this time they had people from 15 countries. So I feel very thankful that, I get to teach them remotely. And I hope to meet you guys there sometime and wish you good luck. In fact, the masters in product management team, masters in product management group, they are going to be doing their demo day on July 2nd and July 5th, actually, on Tuesday. And I'm going to be on the jury list reviewing their final demos. It's wonderful to see the students take all the learning and then go off and build something, work with companies, and it all come together beautifully, giving us a glimpse of what they are going to do as they go out into the future. Okay, once. Apologies, guys. Kept the door open and have a bunch of birds and my dog went chasing, so try to save them. Distraction. I'm back. So nothing happened, So I was talking about the masters in product management team and how they are going to be doing their final demo on Tuesday. So I'm excited to see them. It's early morning. If you see me tweeting and messaging around the clock, it just means I'm up talking to the lovely Barcelona Technology School students. So congratulations again to the BTS students. Other than that, I have so many people. I usually line up whoever I'm congratulating on a tab here, and it's amazing. I have a huge list here this time. Let me share my screen again. I'm very big on names, right names with spellings and pronunciations when we deal with global audience. That's why I like to share my screen, because just by not being able to pronounce somebody's name or missing out a single letter in there, we might miss out a whole lifetime of opportunity of connecting with somebody amazing and learning from them, and being part of some interesting projects with them. So this is Women in AI. Women in AI Innovators in North America. They had their awards. And this is the runner-up is Raquel Utsatun, and she's the CEO of Wabi. She is somebody that I don't know, but she's such an inspiring person. Happens to be building the next generation of self-driving technology. I promise that's not the reason why I feel so inspired to follow her, but her work in AI ethics is amazing. So congratulations, Raquel. Okay, who else have I got here? Our own Renee Cummings is here. So Renee Cummings, she's from the University of Virginia School of Data Science, and she represented data activism in real time at the World Economic Forum Global Technology Governance Retreat. It's a mouthful, but World Economic Forum brought together people on global conversations on technology governance. And Renee represented them. She's very big on sharing all her work. So I would recommend following Renee Cummings, because if it is public, she's going to share that with you. And she brings a very interesting perspective in AI ethics compared to the other people I'm aware of, because she focuses on data activism, and we talk about data bias and what does that look like. But she comes from being a criminologist, so she brings that perspective, which is very beautiful. Who else have I got here? One more minute. I have two of my windows looking at myself. I'm going to close that. It's my own live stream, because this is being streamed on YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So I wanted to make sure it was working. So there were multiple windows of me talking. So now I can see you. So if you want to add a question or comment, you can add a comment here on LinkedIn. I see some people. It doesn't say who they are, but it just shows me the number of people who are live. So if you have a question, comment, you work in the space, or want me to join me in congratulating these amazing AI ethics globe changers, feel free to add a comment, or just like and send this to your network so you can have other people sharing this. So this is Devya Divedi, and she does an amazing job. She's a lawyer in the Supreme Court of India, and she came from learning computer science engineering, and then decided to go get a law degree, and then she's a practicing lawyer. And she is a unique person who is at the junction of AI, gender justice, gender equality is what she focuses on. And she was supposed to be our speaker at Weekly Wednesday, but we had to postpone that last week. So she's going to come back. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Devya Divedi is going to talk to us about. But this one is about congratulating her, because she is so diligent. I don't know how many courses Devya takes, but she ends up sharing a lot of her work and stuff. So this is the Campus Law Center, CLC, New Delhi University, invited her to attend the international conference as a guest of honor. So she's very excited, and she's talking, the details of it. And she usually tends to compare, she has a very global perspective of things. So she says, I saw this, it's similar to this other thing, similar to the work of other people. And, following her is very amazing, because she shares a lot of knowledge that happens in the AI law space from around the globe. So congratulations, Devya Divedi. Okay, so who else have I got? I think that's my congratulations list. Okay, I'm going back. The next thing I want to share with you is this announcement from Ruth Naduta. You'll remember, if you remember, Ruth was here talking to us at Weekly Wednesday, where we host our weekly speaker series on Wednesdays. But once a year, we bring together amazing women from around the globe. And this time we did 24 women in 24 hours on IoT Day. And Ruth was one of our speakers, and she was the only one who actually went live and taught us with a Google Colab and said, let me teach you how to do BERT, which is a foundational language AI model. That's one of my areas of work that I'm focused on this year. So Ruth is actually saying we are fundraising to get capable students to the main gathering of the African machine learning and artificial intelligence community, which is called Deep Learning Indaba. If you tune in to see the work that is happening in Africa, in several countries in Africa, and how the communities are coming together, it's mind-blowing. I'm focusing on language models, and I see groups operating in that space, but there's also a lot more that is happening in general deep learning or machine learning space. You've seen me talk about Tejumade Afunja, who came from running AI Saturdays Lagos, and then now she's a scholar in the deep learning space working on voice AI. There's so much energy and collaboration that's amazing. And Indaba means community gathering. So 500 people will attend physically. So this is a campaign. They want, if you want to participate in it, or at least, you should, if you share my excitement about this, you can at least add a comment. So, the feed goes to your network, or add other people who might be like to be part of this. So they're looking for travel scholarship for 50 eligible students to get to Deep Learning Indaba. And here is Deep Learning Indaba. If you want to know, they have their own site on LinkedIn. Okay. So now I'm going to switch gears. So usually what I do is I start off with the congratulations of people who inspired me, topics, and talk about that. And then I usually have some jobs and fellowships. So I usually put that to the end. And so what I'm going to do, because this is going to be the Friday before a long weekend, I'm going to try and see if I can finish this sooner than my usual time. So I'm going to get you to the job before everything else. So let me share that link. Give me a minute. 1 second. So there is a job at NASA. So this is in NASA, and they're looking for a chief technologist. And so what does that mean? So I think I'm sharing the screen. Can somebody confirm? Thank you, guys. Okay. And
technology, especially.
Okay, I'm going to rewind this back.
Are you passionate about technology, especially emerging technology? Do you understand how industry, academia, and the government can work together to enable technology infusion? Hello, I'm Bhavya Lal, NASA's Associate Administrator for Technology Policy and Strategy, and I'm excited to share with you this opportunity to apply to become NASA's next Chief Technologist. Our office, OTPS, was created last fall to provide NASA leadership with data and evidence-driven option trade space to develop and shape NASA policy, strategy, and technology investments. Simply put, we focus on the why, the what, and the how of NASA. And the agency chief technologist, who will be part of this office, plays a critical role in ensuring NASA's success. As the agency chief technologist, you serve as the administrator's principal independent expert, advisor, and advocate on matters concerning aeronautics and space-related technology policy and programs. You will work collaboratively across the entire agency in the areas of technology scouting, evaluation and development, and policy to ensure appropriate technologies are considered and adopted across the entire enterprise. This is an exciting time for NASA, and OTPS has a unique opportunity to contribute to NASA's long-term plans. To apply, Visit USA Jobs today.
Okay. So hope obviously this is only for US, but thank you. I hope some of you will be able to benefit from this. And let me share the link for this because the job link is different. Hold on. And she said USA jobs, but it is a longer link. Hold on for a minute. Okay. And thank you, Dr. Bhavya Lal, for sharing this. And when you hear a hiring manager actually or somebody from the team talk passionately, you can actually get a sense of what the job is about or the org is about. So this is the US, when she said usajobs.gov, I just wanted to give you the full URL. So that's where it is. So yes, the job. It's open to the US. Of course, it's open to US citizens or nationals who are eligible to owe allegiance to the US. That's how they say that, because they'll do a security check, and that's what this is. Okay. So that is the exciting job. I thought I should share that upfront. And then our own Susanna Raj had shared a fellowship that I want to share with you guys. It is a senior fellow tech policy at Mozilla Foundation, and they have multiple remote locations from Africa, Brazil, EU, or United States. And here it is, and it's quite a quick application deadline coming up, and it's focused on trustworthy AI. So here it is. So if this is of interest, again, I will share all this in the newsletter. So, then comes the topic. So usually for those of you who have been with me before, I pick a topic that's top of mind and I kind of focus on that, and I'll give you a lot of links. We had Devya Divedi who was going to talk about AI and law, and I just said, Divya, can you come and talk to us about, what is AI law? And we had Dr. Tiago Avanci interviewed by Devya Divedi 3 weeks back. And they were talking about, how there is fundamental laws and then there is international laws, and, how the difference, the lawyer's perspective. And I wanted something that will ground us and just do a basic. And since we didn't do that, instead of just doing an AI law 101, I thought we can focus on a hot new topic, which is called AI Act. Let me get a links for that so you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay. So basically, there is something called an AI Act. Do I have the link for it? Okay. So there are many different people talking about the AI Act. There is an AI Act that has been launched from EU. AI Act. It is available in draft. I think we just the comment period just closed in mid-May, if I remember right. It was May 18th. And there's been several, if you just search for the AI Act EU, there's several different analysis for it available from different people. I found the one from PwC to be interesting, but it had a lot of lawyer language in there. But here it says what is the scope of it, what is the exception of it, and things like that. So from a layman language, I would say emotions AI, deep fakes like artificial images and videos and voice, using biometrics, all of them are going to be stopped by this, are going to be challenged and stopped by this AI Act from EU. And GDPR is the best law that we have for data. And by EU starting that, there's been variations of it or copies of it that has been accepted in Latin America, in multiple states in US. And so everybody's watching the AI Act because that will kind of set the foundation of what rest of the AI law will be from every other country. And the AI Act by itself from Europe will also affect all the technology companies. And so, like GDPR, we are going to see how they deal with data. This is going to be how they deal with AI. So the PwC assessment is one interesting one that I thought was a very quick summary. I believe the report is 160 pages, so they kind of did a quick summary of it. So what we are going to do is, instead of like broadly, I think it is useful for all of us in technology space to understand what does this mean. Just like you have to know what is GDPR. GDPR tells you the consumer owns the data and they have to give you permission and to consent for companies to collect the data. And at that point, they have to say what they're going to use that data for. And if they change their mind and come up with a new use case, they have to come back and get permission from the user. But the most important thing in GDPR is you as a user has a right to be forgotten. So when you say right to be forgotten, you can go to any company who's collected your data and say, I want you to purge every data that you have about me. And we don't have that in US. It comes from GDPR. So when I reach Europe immediately, then I get all these permissions of whether I'm giving consent for various things related to GDPR that pops up in all the standard apps that I'm already using in US. And the right to be forgotten, what it means for a technologist or anybody who's building business using data is you have to build privacy by design and be able to purge the data, not that in the system you collect, but wherever else it propagates within partnerships or within your company into other departments and systems. So it changes the architecture of data and how it is stored. So now with the AI Act restricting certain things, it is going to change how we design AI, how we create infrastructure around AI, how do you create the learning patterns of AI, and then AI as a technology is available as an API for application companies to build applications on it. So, there's going to be a cascade across the entire value chain of AI. So that is important for us to understand the details of it. So I've invited Devya Divedi to come back on Wednesday, at this weekly Wednesday, to come talk to us and help us understand what is this AI law in a global perspective. So she sits in the Supreme Court of India as a lawyer, and she's going to be interviewed by Dr. Tiago. So we're kind of flipping it. She interviewed Dr. Tiago last time. So Dr. Tiago is going to come interview her from Brazil. And they're going to bring different perspective, and then we'll be there. And, if you're already one of my students in our distribution, let me give you how you can get to that if you're not in our weekly wait list. And this is going to be a popular event, so we might, get filled up and then we'll waitlist you. So it's bit.ly/weekly wait event. If you're signed up on it, you will be getting a Luma email where you can subscribe or unsubscribe and stay on the list each week to get to know about this and get access to the recording of all our past sessions. At least we try to keep the past year recording current for you to go back and watch. So bit.ly/weekly wed event, and that should get you in, and that'll get you the Zoom link so you can come and have have a conversation. Otherwise, we will just stream it on Business School of AI on LinkedIn, and you can just watch that too. So if you just want to be passively watching it, you can just go to Business School of AI on LinkedIn. Or if you want to join the Zoom session and have a conversation and have questions for Divya, I would recommend that. And specifically, I wanted to call out one particular thing. You heard from me last week about how we had this Supreme Court case which overturned the constitutional protection for abortion for US at a federal level, and we were talking about how that would affect data storage, and I had it even in my newsletter saying don't delete your women health tracking, period tracking apps, and turn off your location and the like. And it's not just limited to people who believe this or that on a certain population. It creates a whole liability ripple if you are in the tech industry in any form. So the first sign of it I saw was from Google sending me an email saying, any location history, that data that I have in my Google account can be deleted by September 1st if I accept and request that. So they sent me a request for that. So what does that mean? And I used to write about autonomous vehicle in Axios. So I went to Axios because they do a very good job of emailing, not emailing, I saw that email and said emailing, of actually summarizing any story. So this was about, if tech companies have abortion related data, and the way the Supreme Court law was done is they basically said there's no federal protection for abortion, and it is sent back to the states, and each state might come up with their own law, and some of them might want to ban abortion, and they are in the unfortunate path to go do that. And what that means is they could have law enforcement go track down and find who's getting an abortion, who aided somebody to get another abortion, who's the doctor who helped this, and track that using technology. It's like very sad state of surveillance state in the making. But the point here is tech companies have to surrender the data. So if you have your data already with the companies, then the companies are at risk, and they have to give it. So they are basically saying, hey, if you have location data stored in Google is saying, hey, you have the choice by September 1, tell us, and we'll delete all your location data. After that, you can obviously turn off location tracking and you're covered. And that's a choice that they're doing. So again, this is about, the law, but it also creates a ripple effect on data storage and liabilities and how you build systems and, applications around that. So wanted to share that. And then we will have a good discussion about the AI law and what that means, and the implications of that, whatever your role in the AI ethics or AI technology world. Before we close out, there's an interesting piece I saw from Mia Dan that I wanted to share. Let me share. Today I've been sharing my screen a lot. So this is from Mia Dan. I'm a big fan of Mia Dan, and she runs Women in AI Ethics, and you see the 100 brilliant women in AI ethics, and they are not just one group, but it's a global group with many different women who are driving change in their different countries and regions. And they have done a partnership with the Finnish Center for AI. So Women in AI Ethics has teamed up with Finnish Center for AI to make AI more inclusive and ethical. And this is the group. So if you're looking for who are the people here, this Women in AI Ethics, and I do this in all my classes, and I show you this online directory. So you can go look at the online directory, and you can find all women working in AI ethics, and you can say, I want to find women in this AI ethics space in Canada, and then it will show you all the Canada women. And you can go follow them, follow their work. And it's a wide range of backgrounds. Or if you're saying, I'm interested in somebody who works with fairness and accountability, or somebody who works with roles and rights, or they work with sustainability, that kind of thing. Or you can say, I'm interested in somebody who's in my region, and say in Middle East, or, then you can find women in that. And so it's just unbelievable, amazing work. So I'm a big fan of Mia Dan's leadership and her work. So I'm very happy to see this Finnish Center for AI partnership and to see what comes out of that. So the details of that is here. So I would recommend you check it out. And, if there's a way for you to contribute, then I would recommend you do that. So with that, I don't have more details on the AI Act from EU. Another site other than PwC, which has done a very quick summary. It's called Artificial Intelligence Act.eu. And I don't know who these people are, honestly. So I don't want to, I'm very big on not endorsing. This looks like a website to provide up-to-date development and analysis. And they have a mailing list, and I don't endorse them because I don't know who they are. I don't even know if this is an official site of EU. But what I liked about this is, and I will confirm that if somebody, yes, thank you for the comment. So I will check if this is an official site. When I share this in the newsletter, I will tell you who they are. But what I liked about them is in this summary, they have actually done a good summary of the whole EU AI Act. And so what they have done is they basically looked the way they looked at all AI, because I've sat in P007 standards committee for IEEE, which branched out to a lot more. and to set standards for AI. And each of us were coming at this is AI, that is AI from what we were looking at as AI. So it's too broad, but what they have done is they basically have categorized when you use AI, if you're thinking of regulating it, that's what this AI Act is doing, then they're basically saying, is it unacceptable risk or is it high risk or low risk? So if it is credit risk scoring to give loans to a person, is that high risk or low risk? And so again, they have categorization of that. So they have things, that is how they're categorizing everything, right? To create whether it is unacceptable risk was government run social scoring system like they have in China. And I don't know what I was telling you about, the US government could potentially, some states could potentially track women. I don't know what category that would come. I would put that under unacceptable risk. There's a second high risk application that would be the facial recognition or scanning of job applicants that is done by bots. And then they have a whole bunch which is not exactly high risk, and they've left it unregulated. And so there are things, there are applications, then layers of applications that would be, you could build on any of these, on these layers of AI. So it is important, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, to go look at that. And I was just pointing to this site because they did that applicable and acceptable high risk or low risk application. I don't know anything else about this particular site otherwise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune in on weekly Wednesday with Devya Divedi to truly understand what this AI Act is. And it's, I try to read the draft of the actual act that is published from EU, and it is a lot of legal language, so I can't claim to know the nitty-gritties of it. So Devya Divedi will be there on Wednesday, at weekly Wednesday, to talk to us, and Dr. Thiago is going to interview her. So hope some of you will join on Zoom, some of you will join on the live stream here at Business School of AI on LinkedIn, and we'll get all the questions and clarification, so we know how this affects us and what we're going to do with this, and how this can evolve into the final. I believe it's still a draft, so how it can evolve into the final act, what is the way that we can influence it if you need it. But the important thing is this is a much needed act, in my perspective, because we don't have a specific AI law, and it's kind of, hundreds of them. And that's one of those things all my students ask. I teach AI ethics to 4 different master's program at Barcelona Technology School, and I teach AI ethics as part of my AI classes wherever I teach. And everybody asks me, what is the regulation? How can this thing not be regulated? Or what is the standard framework for AI ethics? And what is the, standard regulation that I should be referring to? Merv Hickok has a beautiful site where, she has a list of every possible regulation from various different bodies, various different frameworks, nicely organized. AIethicist.org is her site. But still it's too much. So I'm very happy to see that, like GDPR, EU is coming with one AI Act, and hopefully that will set the precedent, or at least it will get the cascade effect of other companies, other countries coming up with a little bit more standardization on AI law. And every one of us working in technology industry can see what is the impact of it, contribute to it, or adapt our ways and make sure that what we build out is much more responsible AI, which is much more ethical. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Stay safe. And those of you who are traveling out for July 4th here in US, I hope you stay safe and have a wonderful, happy 4th. Thank you, everybody. Bye. With this, I'm going to stop.